appreciate everyone being here. As you know, this is an informal, non-voting meeting for the council, and we are here to discuss Parker Park, listen to your ideas, your thoughts. We have some presenters that will give some background information about the park, and I ask that we be reminded of the purpose of the workshop and keep our topic on Parker Park. Again, to those that are here to present, we appreciate your time. Those of you that have come, it's great to see that we have interest in the center point of our city, and we want to get it right. So, with that said, we're going to pass to the administrator to sort of moderate the meeting, and Doug, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, welcome. I love the support. Thank you guys very much for making your time to come out tonight. I believe we're going to have some great information to pass along to you all, as well as we hope we'll get some great information back to you guys so we can keep this project moving forward. We've had great success with Parker Park to date since we actually got rid of the bathrooms that were there and kind of opened the park back up, had an amazing gumbo festival, had several farmers markets, had some special events there for some folks, and it just seems to be starting to fill its natural course again of a nice meeting spot in town for folks to use and enjoy. And the goal from my point is to give you more outside activities, the ability to entertain more. It'd be nice to have somewhere with a grill and picnic tables and things like that, and I think we're getting really close. So with some cooperation from some other organizations and some information that you're going to hear tonight, I believe we might be able to take this park, which was actually given very little money through FEMA. I do have some information on what we're going to be able to get back from FEMA for Parker Park, and it's very limited. It limits it to some sidewalks, some restrooms to put back in the restrooms in a spot, as well as a fence that goes along the side of Parker Park Road. So that's all. There's nothing else in there for any kind of covering, stormwater, nothing else in there at all. So just want to make sure you're aware of that any funding that comes to do this park is coming out of the city's coffers or for something that we get from somebody else. So please know that we're trying to do everything we can to get it as quickly as possible, but we're limited because of the funding source, and it's not a budgeted item for us. So with that, I'll kind of give you an overview of how the meeting's going to work tonight. So the meeting this evening will be a couple different sessions. I know it's packed in here, and I appreciate that. I wish we had a bigger room to have this event in. So we are doing an option to make sure that we were able to break it up a little bit. So the first session, we're going to have the presenters come in, and they're going to present their ideas and things that they've been working on with city staff, as well as some ideas from outside contractors and things of that nature, so they can go over those. There will not be a question and answer portion of that part at that time. I just want to actually have their information given to you so you can take it all in. I did make sure that each of you guys, and if you don't, I believe Tommy has some more in the back, but there's a packet of maps that show setups and a couple different options, as well as a playground that we're going to go over here in a little bit that we've received from Bay County. So with that, this section in here, we're going to hold that to probably about 25 minutes here in this room during those presentations. We're going to break up at that point, and we're going to go into the bay here where the fire department usually has their fire trucks. They were nice enough to move them out for us tonight, so we can have some light refreshments in there, just some sodas and some waters and stuff like that, so you'll have a chance to mill around, talk with the people that are doing presentations today. So you'll have a presentation from Dewberry. David will be talking a little bit about the park along with me on some of the things that we've done so far, as well as you'll hear from Leadership Bay County, who has several people from that class here today that are going to talk about the playground opportunity that we have, and they've received the money from Bay County to bring to us. The last presentation, we do have Mr. Frank James here from Sweetwater. We're going to try to keep his comments related to the ideas that he has going forward to help Parker Park related to the community that would be behind that. So he'll be here. He'll also be out there with the other folks at a table if you have some side questions that you'd like to ask him, and he's agreed to answer those for us. So I appreciate that, Mr. James. Thank you very much for allowing people to ask questions. But during this time, we're trying to keep it on Parker Park. So please remember that, to keep it on Parker Park discussion. So the last portion will come back in here after we're out there in the breakout room, and that'll be the point where we'll do a recap, and then we'll have question and answer. So at that point, you'll be able to get your questions on the record. Please try to come up and keep your questions, make them clear, because we're going to try to write them down, and we'll have it recorded. It'll be on Facebook Live. This part's on Facebook Live as well, so people that can't be here can see it. But when we come back to the question and answer time, when you do have a question, we'd like for you to be able to come up. You'll have 2 minutes to speak. Try to keep it to 2 minutes so that we can let everybody speak that might want to speak. Try to say your name and your address so we kind of know if we need to follow up with any kind of questions from you, and speak clearly so that we can type it down as best as possible. So that's the last thing I have about that. So the kind of the overview of the meeting. Council, any questions about any of that information? We're good?
Oh, we're ready to go.
All right, so we'll move on to our first presenter, and for me, that's going to be I'll start with myself and David from Dewberry, so we'll bring him up and should have any questions. So I'd like to kind of give you an overview of where we've been to date. So I brought a couple of boards here, and the first one is where we are right now. So you'll see that map in your packet. It shows State Road 98, so you'll have that. You guys have that in front of you in the packet as your first page. Everybody in the back does. It kind of shows where we are right now, a blank slate right here. This is what was designed in 2016 for us to, they went through the first couple phases. So they were phasing in this project with the design and implementation to do the stormwater runoff, so the detention bonds that you guys have seen over there, as well as where the bathrooms were in the middle of the room, in the middle of the park, and then mostly gravel parking area and some options that would set up later. So now it's a clean slate. So that's a good opportunity to us if we do want to make some changes. So you have that in your packet. Now to see where we are now, if we were to go with what you guys had designed in 2016. So I just want to be clear that 98 is running along the top here. You can see that. This park was designed with an amphitheater looking back towards, the amphitheater here, where you can see, and you're looking out back behind City Hall. So you're looking this way. This is where the 800 megahertz tower is seen. So you can see that back behind you. And the City Hall, the new complex is the 25 acres that the city bought back in this area. So that you'll be seeing municipal complexes and things of that nature that would be here. So that would be your view, and dead trees. So we are having Arbor Day on the 30th, so we can start making it better for that. But that is kind of what you see sitting here looking this way. The pole barn is here. It was designed originally as a 30 by 60. It's in this side of the property. So you can sit over here and kind of in a covered area should it be raining, anything like that. So, and then they had a playground design in the front that was for future whenever they found some funding for it. The playground is small. A playground was here in the front, and then this is 98. So when you're looking out this way, that should view that way. The retention ponds are the same. So this actually shows a street, because it's a two-way street, but it's a small road coming into Parker Park, and it has an exit going this way through the city's right of way to 26. So that's an option as was designed back then. So that we took that option, and then we looked at what you guys had put input in 2019 after the storm. In 2019, following the storm, we had a project that was sponsored here for us, and a lot of you guys were a part of that project right after the storm, doing the R2P2 project, which was kind of something that was really great for me as coming in as a new city administrator. It kind of lined up everything that you guys were interested in doing. So a lot of these things didn't have to be held because they were already held. And you said what you guys were interested into was more greenway, blueway trails, some outdoor activities. This identifies everything from the 80 acres to the pathway through, the 80 acres that we're in the process of closing on now. So all those things that you guys worked on in 2019 are starting to come to fruition. The councils continue to push those items. When I got here, they were kind of on a tee, so all I had to do was close them, so I got lucky. But we are continuing to move forward on all those projects. But I just wanted you to notice that even in 2019, I'm sorry if I'm blocking your way.
You're good.
Even in 2019, the amphitheater was here looking out towards the backdrop, same thing here. It shows an option filling in, which has always been a pipe dream to fill in the front part of Parker Park, as I understand. That was man-made. It takes up a lot of real estate. You'll hear a little bit more about that in a few minutes, but it does continue to keep the pole barn, the playground in the back, the bathrooms continue to be actually here with that covered area. The same thing here, they start moving the bathrooms over to one side. This pavilion is accessible from the street now for the presentations, or anything you might have, music in the park, things of that nature. So I just wanted to be clear, where you guys were in 2016?
19.
This is 2016. From what was designed by Pebble Ridge, and then you started the project of phasing it in, and then where you got to be in 2019. After the storm, kind of keeping that project alive and a dream for Parker Park. So that's kind of what we want to continue to build on. Another part of this resiliency plan that you guys discussed related to our open space and our green space and our blueway trails and things of that nature. So I wanted to kind of refresh your memory a little bit if you haven't seen this in a while. All these items are ways to get people out and about. These are some of the boardwalk trails that might be through the 80 acres. And the reason I talk about that is this map shows the combination between them all. You get down to Parker Park by ways of the greenway or blueway trails and some of this waterway. We've got some kayak launches designed in some of the different park areas where it could be a possibility. There's a FERDAP application that's out there for a grant for some kind of a kayak launch, non-motorized equipment that we're looking into. And it travels all the way down to the boat ramp and try to get underneath the bridge to 98 and get all the way to the jet. So there's ways to traverse through all that. So I just wanted to refresh your memory that we're trying to continue through the processes that you guys decided that was going to be one of the great things for Mexico Beach, and to continue with Parker Park. So we took that design that you have in your packet in 2016. We worked with Dewberry on options to make sure it fits and make sure that nothing gets kind of overpowered. And it's not, I promise you, I'm not a my way or the highway kind of guy. I just want to get it done so that you guys can use it. So if I sound like I'm pushy or trying to figure something out, I'm not. We're on hold right now because of the FEMA money that we have, so we don't want to build something in the wrong spot where it's not going to work out in the future. So we put that on hold to build a bathroom. So right now we're still using the portalets. That costs money to the city every day. Every day. If you think about how many of those we have around the town. That's my goal, is to get a bathroom, running bathroom for everybody, sooner than later. So what we did here was an option to flip a few. So first you notice that there is I put this in here. This is the 50-foot right-of-way that we would have to have should a road go through to Sweetwater, to that development that's behind here. If they were to use Parker Park Road, this is as wide as it would have to be. It'd obviously have to widen over this bank a little bit. The guardrails have to move. There's a sidewalk designed in here, so you could walk from 98 on the sidewalk to go inside the park, or all the way back to the project, however you want to do. So we were looking for this, to make this happen, to make this beautiful, palm trees, a nice entranceway on one side. The developer has agreed to do all those things to make it beautiful on their way in, because it behooves them to come past that something beautiful into their neighborhood, right? So that's something that we don't have to pay for as a community. We would work with a developer to cover that. So that's a nice addition for us. However, I know I don't live here. Nobody wants it in their backyard. I get it. The other option was over here on this street, but we're not going to get into that now, but I just want you to see what it looks like. At this point, with a 2-lane road coming in and out, as big as that would be, there would be no reason for this easement. We would keep the easement, but there would be no reason to use that. We could block that off as overflow parking, so we could have some extra parking. There's a possibility of some more parking across the canal should we ever need it. I don't mean to speak for you, but that's kind of what we're thinking about, is how we would get more parking in this area. So again, this would close off. This is currently the city's right of way. Have parking on both sides, you could walk across the road to get to it. The biggest change is, you'll notice the amphitheater is reversed. So the amphitheater, no longer looking at out into the back, into the dead trees and the buildings and stuff that are working back here. Now you're looking across 98. I do understand at certain times of the day the sun will be in your eyes. That could be a problem for most. You might want to wear some sunglasses maybe for the hour that happens, but the beautiful view across would be, in my opinion, better than looking at the alternative, but we're open to whatever. You can actually see the way David has designed and backed this up. This 15 by 30 covered area. We did receive some money recently from Stronger Than the Storm. They could probably build, let's say we do get something bigger amphitheater-wise. We did receive some money, and he wants to build a stage so he could hold his event here for Stronger Than the Storm every year at Parker Park. So he had some money that he wanted to go for some kind of a stage one day. So that's an idea. There's quite a bit of room here for seating. Remember that these detention ponds are not retention ponds, so the water goes out. We've set our tables and chairs in here at Gumbo Festival, so just so you know, that's not holding water unless it's bad rain, right? So I haven't seen it with much water in it ever yet, but so that would be the amphitheater area. This is a wooden deck. It's kind of an idea that the mayor had thrown out one day, and it made a lot of sense because of the $1 million it takes to fill in this area and the permits that are required to do that. Why not add on some usable space here one day as another phase to add a deck across the canal? So we would have some sidewalks to get through it, whether they're shelf crushed rock walkways or whatever it is. The kayak launch that I talked about would be a great spot over here should we ever get some money for that. The playground, as designed, would take up about 950 square feet. So just make sure everybody understands it's not a playground park. It's just an element of part of the park. The 30 by 60 pole barn that would go here, nice covered area with some picnic tables. We have the bathrooms moved to the back, out of the way, so that they back up to where the waterway is in the back. It's just out of the way so we can utilize them, but it has some handicap accessible parking, paths all the way around. And I believe it kind of fits everything in nice. So that's basically all I have to talk about that at this point. Just kind of want to give you an overview of how we got to where we are today. I do have some other speakers that are going to come up and kind of talk about some of those items that I touched on. And the first one could be the folks from Leadership Bay. If you guys could come up and kind of go over your board, Chad, so they can talk a little bit about their project and how they got to that to help the city out. So.
Thank you, Doug. I'm Chad Evans with Leadership Bay. We are an offshoot of the Chamber of Commerce for Bay County. It's an annual class. Part of our class is we do a project within the community that has to be a benefit to the community. Last fall, as we started brainstorming what we wanted to do as a class project, we started thinking about all the loss that the community has had, recreational areas, play areas for children, everything like that. So we worked with the county. They pledged some money towards us. We started looking where we could put it. We knew there was a need here, so we started working with your city. But where could you use this at? It's just, if you'll look, this is a huge park. This is the small area of the park that we would take up at the playground. It is fully funded by Bay County. It has been earmarked for this project. We are basically just waiting for some feedback on some design. You're okay, and for us to put it out to bid and to be done. This is money that wouldn't come out of the city's budget. This is completely from Bay County. They would strip the check and it would be done. We are open to, this is your part, your ideas. We would just like to be a part of it. When we do breakout, if you've got questions for us about what Leadership Bay is, where this came from, I'll be happy to answer them. But we're hoping to help you guys rebuild this park and just be a small part of it and bring some things back that we've lost in this one.
So one thing that maybe you could touch on is a little bit about, you had talked about some safety.
Yes,
safety
yeah, no, and
areas.
that's completely. If we got questions and answers, we realize as we get a finalization of where we would be in the park, you can see there's canal areas, there's water areas. Within our budget, we have the money. We realize there's going to need to be some fencing, things to make things ADA compliant. We're planning for all that, and we have the budget for it. So yeah, we do recognize that there's some safety issues and everything. So, but that is in our grand plan already. And once we have the ability to put it out for bid, we can place it wherever we want.
Is there anything else? I mean, they've got built into that, there's landscaping built into it, as well as all the design features and the installation and everything that comes along with that.
It's a complete build out that the county paid for, and then when it's done, my understanding is once it's all done and everything, then the city will take over long-term maintenance eventually once it's all done. So but it is, it's the safety features, the playground itself, the landscaping, all that part will be paid for by the county and is already earmarked for that.
All right, well, I think you pretty hit on everything. Maybe some people might have some pictures. Do you have the bigger picture with you? Or
I do.
You have it out? Oh, it's outside.
Yeah, it's outside.
So it'll be in the breakout section. You'll see it in your pamphlet. It shows kind of the design. It could be altered a little bit, maybe a swing set or something. There's some add-ons with it.
If we have budget, and obviously budgets are something with the way the world is kind of crazy right now. If we have budget for doing some more shade sails and some other things that will look natural, those are part of the plan as well, but we have to see what the budget is.
I tried to get them to do the pole barn, but they wouldn't.
Yeah.
I learned a long time ago. If you don't ask, you don't get, right?
I'm a salesman, but I'm not that good.
Well, thank you guys. I look forward to talking to you in the breakout section, and we'll have some of that stuff outside. So thank you guys. Appreciate what you guys do for us. All right. For the next presentation, Mr. James, you can come up from Sweetwater discussion and have your.
So, in talking about Parker Park and over the years, it's always seemed that the front canal, this is 98 down here, it's always seemed that the front canal was kind of a waste, and it'd be nice if it went away so you could get more acreage for Parker Park. In looking at the picture here, it's a little deceiving. Parker Park's roughly 2 acres. If you fill the front canal, it's roughly 1 acre, so you get half again as much park. I was adamant when I talked to FDEP, the State of Florida's Environmental Protection Group, that I was not speaking for Mexico Beach, but I was speaking as a developer in Mexico Beach, and I asked them, what would it take to fill the front canal? And they said, we'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. I talked to our environmental people that we utilize for the wetland impact that we'll be having for our project, that they feel it's not going to be a problem. If the council would like me to move forward, once again, I am not speaking for the city of Mexico Beach. I'm only gathering information. I want to be clear on that. But if the council would like me to move forward, not talking for city of Mexico Beach, but just gathering information to give y'all, I've got a Zoom meeting tomorrow with FDEP, and we can discuss it. And they will not give me an answer tomorrow because that's not what they do. But I think that if I kind of bounce an idea off of them, kind of hedge my bets a little bit with them, that they'll give me an idea if it's a positive thought process or not. So with that being said, if it's possible to close the front canal and the city of Mexico Beach would like to do it, I'll pay for it. I'll just do it. I'll pay for the environmental protection survey, and I'll pay for any fees that need to be done in case wetland credits have to be purchased. I don't think they will be. It'll be a thing called a littoral wetland credit. I don't think there's any wetlands there, to be honest with you. And then one of two things could happen if we got the approval to fill it. I can fill it, when we do the project, or the city of Mexico Beach has got a bunch of dirt from the canal dredging that's sitting on that property right now. I don't know if you have plans for it or not. We can work that out later on. But I would just like to offer the opportunity to fill that canal if the city would like it done.
So, Mr. James,
Let me stop him long enough to say, please talk to them on your Zoom meeting.
Got it. Do it tomorrow.
I told it to, sorry.
Now, that's me speaking for the city of Mexico Beach. We can't vote on anything, but if you're gathering information, don't pass up that opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. So that was an amazing opportunity that could maybe make us whole to add another acre to our park. So I wanted to make sure everybody heard about that opportunity. It's not something that has to be done right away. We could still do our functioning park the way that we had drawn it out to kind of move things around. The only thing we'd have to move is a small stage where we would have that pavilion on. It could back up and maybe turn into a larger pavilion like Sheffield Park over in Lyndhaven or something of that nature maybe one day as a pie in the sky. But that does add more parking. That does add more room for bodies. So thank you very much for that opportunity, and we look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you, sir. I do want to recognize Justin Baldwin. He's here with the Department of Environmental Protection. He's in the back there. He's one of the ones that helps us with our R2P2 project. He let me know he was coming by. He heard we were working on another park, and he helps us with that kind of information. So he's probably listening to every word you said. Maybe he's on that call tomorrow. I didn't get a chance to give you a heads up. But, thanks, Justin, for being here today. If you guys have questions related to that R2P2 project that you guys did years ago and where things might stand, you'd be able to corner him for a few minutes and ask him. He's a nice young man that has been here a couple times since I've been here, so talking about some opportunities. So with that, that's the presentations that we have. Unless David thinks that I missed anything or any kind of update, no, nothing now. So you'll be available out there at the stations, as well as your council members are going to be there. Should you want to ask them some questions about some of the thought processes, or maybe get some of your points across to some of the people that are doing presentations for future ideas, please take that map with you. That'll help you coordinate what you're doing. On the tables outside the room here, you'll see some sticky notes as well as some ink pens. If you have an idea, put your name on there, and some part of your idea, make sure we can get a hold of you if you can't get your idea on there. Or if you're going to talk about it later during a question and answer, we can get it as well. But that'll help me kind of compile everything once we get done, because it's hard to get everything as we go. But please take a chance to write down some of those items on those sticky notes and stick them on there, and shake somebody's hand and meet somebody they hadn't met before. And it's so nice to be back out in the public with all you guys here again. And if there's not anything else from you, Mr. Mayor, we'll go ahead and go on to the second section.
Yeah, let's go out there and look at those pictures, and let people have a chance to look at them closer.
Perfect. So we can go out here. Remember, there's some drinks on the table. Meet everybody, and I'll bring this easel out.